Studying. Studying is defined as devoting time and attention into gaining knowledge of an academic subject, especially by means of books. And now people tend to look at this definition, they see time and attention, and then the question I always get asked is, oh, J-Spark, how can I study for longer? How can I study for more time? J-Spark, how do I study for 8 hours a day? But if you really think about it, no one actually wants to study. You just want to get the knowledge of the academic subject, right? They're not testing your ability to study. What the exams are testing is knowledge, just as people go to the gym, not because they like going to the gym. They like seeing the results. They want to get that physique. They want to become big. And so all the questions I get about how to study for longer, the best study techniques, how can I like study for like longer to make my parents proud? These are all really bad questions. Because if you could get knowledge without having to study, you wouldn't need to study. If anything, you want to study for a less amount of time. How do I study better? How do I study more efficiently? We can optimize your studying techniques with pretty notes and highlighting your textbook. But getting good at learning and memorizing, this is the only study video that you'll ever need to watch. These are the things that are going to give you the biggest chunk of results, where I teach you not the top 10 study tips, because you can romanticize studying all you want, but I'll just be giving you 3 protocols for studying effectively, meaning we'll minimize time spent on studying so that you can still ace and dominate your tests, but still be the most interesting person in the room. That hobby or pursuit that you always wanted to do, you can now find time for it, because I'm going to be teaching you how to study efficiently. Number 1, active recall. Take a look at these images. Can you remember all of them without going back into the video? Probably not. But what if there was a way? Memorization is a key part in our examinations. Normally, we have to take a look at a big chunk of text, look at all the points, topics, and then you have to regurgitate that onto your exam paper, right? That's a big part of studying. And the way you do this is through active recall. Active recall in bro terms is this. You look at your history textbook. You read history textbook. Oh, now you know like 3% of it. You put it down, go to the gym, go outside, play piano, go play with yourself. Ayo, pause. And then you come back and you look at it again. You're not going to know much of it. Maybe you only remember a couple of words, but you reread it again and now you know a couple more words, and so you know 6% of it. And then you go away and then you just recall it again and you repeat this until you know 100% of it. But the important part of this is you're not just rereading it, you have to recall it. Recalling means testing yourself on that topic. For example, if you always play this piano piece with the sheet music, you're going to be able to play it right because you have that thing in front of you, you're always looking at it and you're dependent on it. But then the moment that sheet music is taken away, that piece you could have easily played with that sheet music perfectly, you're not going to be able to play it. You're going to forget parts because you've never taken it away. You've never had to recall it because it was always in front of you. Same with notes. If you just read it over and over again and not test yourself on what you do and don't know, you become dependent on your notes. Your brain's thinking, oh, the information's there. I don't need to put it in my brain. So it's just there and you don't remember it. And so that's why when I used to study with notes, I'd fail my tests. It looks something like this in action. You open history book and you read the passage. Then you close the door and go away. Come back. Before opening the book, you recall about what you read last time. And you don't remember much because your memory is pretty trash. But you do remember this one thing. Poland solidarity. Good job, man. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a start. And now you open the book and now you read, oh, Poland solidarity 1981. Oh, the movement was led by Lech Walesa. And now you know like a whole sentence and a key fact. This is literally proven to be the most effective study method backed up by science. That's why spaced repetition exists, because you need to space out time in between intervals of you learning so that your brain can process the information and try and recall it. And then when you come back to recall it the next time, you know a bit more. You actually need to be studying less in that regard, because letting your brain process that information to make new neural connections, this is done through periods of rest and sleep. This is the one time that I'm going to be telling you, study less and rest more. That time away from studying is more important than you think, because that's when all your memories, neural pathways are formed. I remember watching on TV, there was like this goofy program called Operation Ouch, and they were doing an episode about memorization, and they did like a challenge between the two of them. It was like a massive shopping list, and what they found was the most effective was like they look at the shopping list as they were brushing their teeth, as they went to the toilet, as they woke up, just be like constantly rereading it throughout the day. And this is because spaced repetition and active recall actually works. I remember in primary school, we had a big spelling competition coming up. Whilst everyone else was stressing and like spending hours like trying to memorize all these things, I was doing what they were doing on Operation Ouch. When I'm like on the toilet, I'll be looking at it, I stick it against the wall, I have it in my pocket so that at school I just like pop it open. Everyone made fun of me. They were like, oh, that's so stupid, you should be revising for the spelling test. And I destroyed all of them. I aced them. I study for less than them, rested more than them, and when they saw me like resting, having fun, they didn't understand. And so I use this to this day. I used it to memorize my French speaking lines, my drama lines when I used to do drama, and it really, really does work. Number 2, past papers. My way of revising for the longest time, for the real fans out there who've watched my videos will know, it was just making notes. I got this big notebook, and then I'd go through all the things that I'd done throughout that year, and I just make notes on it. I'd make them organized, and then I'd be sad when I didn't do well on the test. But the test isn't testing your note-taking skills. The test doesn't have as a question, oh, write 10 pages of notes and you'll get marks on how aesthetic it is. That's not what a test is. It has questions that make you explain, describe, and recite concepts. If you have a piano competition coming up, you want to practice playing the piano. And yet, what I was basically doing was I was practicing sitting on the piano chair. I was literally practicing for the wrong thing, because in the competition, it's so obvious. They're going to be grading my piece performance. If you have a boxing match tomorrow, you want to be practicing throwing the punches. And if you have a test tomorrow, you want to be doing practice test questions. The test you're revising for isn't a one-off, because exam boards are a worldwide adopted thing now. Like for a lot of the exams, they've already been done before. They're an exam board and they're in a series, they're in a curriculum, but the question types and format are exactly the same. Literally, some of them will be repeats of what you've already practiced before. And this is amazing for us. Past papers are the best because they're not only for practicing for the real test, but they're free and easy to find. Make sure to write down the mistakes, because it's great marking your past papers that you've done and being like, oh, I got this right, big tick, good job me. But the thing is, no one cares about what you got right, because chances are if you got it right now, you're going to get it right in the exam. You need to be writing down what you got wrong. So in that past paper, at the front, after you've done it, write down the question numbers you got wrong, and then actively recall the answers to those questions that you got wrong. And just make it a habit to do one past paper a day if you have big exams coming up soon. And if you just do 1 a day on weekdays and 2 a day on weekends, in a month you'd have done 36 past papers. And then in the real test, when you go into that exam hall, you've literally probably come across that question so many times and you're going to ace that test. And lastly, intensity, not time. If you want to burn 1,000 calories, you have to walk for 5 hours. But if you wanted to burn 1,000 calories by sprinting, you could do that in less than 30 minutes. People always want to get more time to study, but time is the thing that's fixed. You can't slow down time, you can't make time longer. You can manage your time effectively and get rid of blocks, but I assume if you're watching this video, you aren't spending hours on TikTok, right? You aren't wasting hours on video games, right? Considering all that, time is the thing that everyone has 24 hours with. What can you change? The intensity at which you study. You have to work just below your limit, and when you do, you have to make sure you're under mental load, because that's actually how you learn things. For example, at the gym, curling 1 kg is going to be just as ineffective as you curling 30 kgs, because you're not going to be able to lift it, you're going to injure yourself. Gym goers know that the best weight is the one that you struggle with, because having your muscle under tension is what makes it grow. Same with your brain. Cognitive load and not understanding something is actually the best way to learn. People are scared to not know something and they just skip over that question. But studies have found doing one question that's challenging, getting to know that and understanding why that is, you're going to be so much more familiar and have a deeper understanding for that. And this all backs up the quality of studying over quantity. Another way to be under cognitive load is be implementing the knowledge you have. Try making analogies, doing practice papers, mind maps, explaining to other people. These all require your brain because you have to actively recall, whereas note copying and just highlighting your textbook are the complete opposite. If the red zone of you burning out is here and resting green is over here, and so when you're studying, you're just below this red zone, the burnout line. For me, I felt bad not studying for hours, so even after I was studying, as I was watching YouTube, I'd try be looking at flashcards on the other side. The only thing that did was worsen my focus, because this is what's happening. I'm constantly in this amber zone, and this amber zone keeps up using your brain points. You feel tired at the end of the day. Your brain isn't resting, and being active is using up your brain capacity. And people are excited, right? They're thinking oh, I could burn 1,000 calories in under 30 minutes. That's so great. I'm gonna sprint for 6 hours a day. Shut up. Shut up. The whole point of sprinting is that you rest for a long period of time, but when you do sprint, you sprint intently. It wouldn't be cool to sprint if you just did that for long periods of time, right? Make sure that you're in the green zone when you rest. Don't stay in this middle, studying and resting at the same time. Study on the red zone. You could actually spread the intensity also. Make it a part of your day. As you're on the toilet and do flashcards on public transport, look your notes. Setting up these systems are actually going to be more valuable in the long run, because the days when you're not at home, you have to sacrifice something for you're out that day or something. The systems are going to make it so that you're able to still utilize those times, because on the transport or before going to sleep, you're still going to be looking at those flashcards. And an actionable step right now you could start doing, this system that you could do from tomorrow, is that whenever you're in a public transport and you've got your phone out, it's a 20-minute train journey and you have time, instead of going straight to TikTok, just review 5 flashcards and then you could go onto TikTok. And just this simple system is an example of what you can start implementing. Don't try and increase the time you're studying. That's stupid. Increase the intensity. That's how you study effectively. A bonus tip is to meta learn. Meta learning is what I used to do, and it's what you're doing right now. It's learning how to learn. You're learning how to study effectively, and this is really valuable. And I got my information from shady 8-year-old Reddit websites, because I'd be searching on how to actually study, and it's so hard to find actual students right on the internet, and I always ended up wasting a lot of time. And so if you want to set up these systems and surround yourself with other like-minded students, join Superior Students, my free online community. And also right now, something really cool we have going on is a 60-day challenge where we're doing these setups. We're reading 20 pages of books, doing deep work, and it's a really good way to kickstart your correct trajectory into becoming a superior student. Check out today. It's free. First link in the description, and you can ask for and give advice to students, so it's tailored for you. I hope you found this useful, and as always, I'll see you next time.